What is going on, everyone? We are rocking and rolling today with another Brand Doctor podcast episode that we are simultaneously streaming on Facebook. And today I have Steven Snyder, one of my mans from Instagram, who I've met a couple of years ago, that has just been a huge help on my account and really helping me take my business to the next level on Instagram. And so I want to get him on the show and sort of have him share with you some of the secrets of building your brand on Instagram. So Steven, what's going on, my dude?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me. Super pumped.
Absolutely. So guys, pay attention to what Steven says today, because he has built multiple six-figure accounts on Instagram. I'm talking motivated mindset, over 600 or 700,000 people following them. He's helped me grow my account. I think we did like 7,000 or 8,000 followers in just under 30 days. So pay attention to what he says, because he really knows what he's doing on Instagram, and I had to have him on the show. So for those people that don't know you, Steve, I want to know, and I want you to share with the audience why you sort of went out on your own and started to create this personal brand for yourself and this business that you have that helps people on Instagram build profitable accounts.
I'll start back from where I started my first page. So basically 5 years ago, I had my personal account. And my personal account, I was posting, my random pictures, and I would throw in quotes here and there, just for fun as a hobby. And then I realized after about a month or two that these quotes were getting quite a bit of likes and comments on them. So I sat down and I was like, maybe I should start a quote page, because I just like motivating people and sharing quotes. So I did that. So I sat down, I brainstormed some names, and I decided with Motivated Mindset. And then from there, I started experimenting with content, seeing which content works best, which quotes bring the most comments and such. And then over time, I realized that the account's growing pretty quickly. And then that it actually turned into something. And I realized, okay, this could go somewhere. So I went full steam ahead on that. And within 3 years, I think I had the page up to 169,000 followers. And that was just mostly from organic growth. I didn't really know much about shoutouts back then or anything like that. And then up until last year's when I sold Motivated Mindset to the current owner. And since then, I think 2 months later, he was looking for someone to manage it for him. And I was like, hey, I'm definitely your guy. Grow the page. I know what I'm doing. I can definitely do it for you. And then that was last spring, I believe. No, 2 years ago, sorry. And then 2 months later, I reached out to a couple people, seeing if they needed help with their Instagram page. And before you know it, I had 2 clients, 3 clients, 4 clients. And I was like, hey, this can actually go somewhere. And then I actually ended up leaving my full-time sales job for it and pursuing it as a career. So it's pretty cool to see where it's gone.
That's insane. So it like organically grew for you. I mean, you sort of dipped your toe in the water and was like, holy, I'm onto something here. And then you start, I like what you said. You tested some of the content that you were putting out there to see what was hitting, what was resonating. It's so funny. I had a similar experience. I did a little test about 2 nights ago. I'm sitting in bed, and I like to engage with my audience. I think that's a big part that a lot of people are missing on Instagram is or on social media in general, is people like to talk at their audience instead of with their audience. And so what I did was I wanted to test some of the engagement stuff and test some of the posts like you did. So what I did was I posted a question that looked it was a video, but it looked very organic to Instagram. And I started getting I saw a lot of the viewer count goes up. Like in an hour, we had a few hundred people see the video. And then I typically don't do this, but I posted about an hour later an image that looked like the memes that like these meme accounts that had like the white banner up top, and then it had like the video or the thing in the middle, and I posted that, and it was a GIF, a GIF, a GIF, and that got like 1,000 views in literally like 30 minutes, and I was like, this is telling me something. People freaking love these little meme like posts, and it's entertaining, it's funny, it's engaging, it's relevant, and bam, that post completely blew the post from an hour ago away. So I just wanted to shed some light onto that, because people are just they're still posting pictures of their food and like nonsense, and they're trying to figure out, oh, why isn't my Instagram account like making me money? And so you got to know what type of posts are resonating with people, and do more of it. So that's awesome that you sort of tested the market. I'm like, and it's inspiring to hear like you sort of kind of bumped into this. Like you really didn't know. Yeah, it was almost like an accident. So tell me more about that. Like, tell me the day you found out, like you realized something was going on and that you could actually monetize this.
I think it was when the page hit about 50,000 followers, and I was getting people messaging me in the direct messages, hey, do you offer promotions? I'm like, well, what's a promotion? And I didn't even know at first, so I was like, I didn't even know what a promotion is. And this was at the time when Instagram was like this underground business. I mean, it's still kind of underground now, but these shoutouts were, you can see people paying for shoutouts, and I was like, these people are getting referred by their other pages. I'm like, are they paying them to do that? And then I didn't realize until they reached out to me that, okay, this can go somewhere. I can make some money from this. So they're like, do you want to buy some shoutouts? And I was like, not too sure. And then they started reaching out to me, and I was like, hey, you want to buy from me? Sure.
Right. So real quick, for those, we gotta play dumb a little bit. For those people that are listening that may not know what a shout out is, can we just 2 seconds? What is a paid shout out on Instagram?
So typically for shout outs, if you're a smaller page, you would reach out to a larger page within your niche. So where my niche was the motivational quotes, when I was 50,000 followers, I was reaching out to 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 followers. And so what a shout out is when you pay a page, or you don't have to pay them, you can exchange a value exchange with them, and they'll shout out your account saying, hey, follow this page for more motivation, and that'll bring in a ton of followers and comments and likes.
That's how I've built my Instagram account to over 50,000 now, and I'm starting to get those DMs now, those messages. Hey, what do you charge for a shout? And unless it's on brand with what it is that my mission is and the way what the brand doctor's all about, like I just push them away, or I'll say go see my friend Steve. But that's a huge way to build your account very quickly, is to leverage other people in your niche that have bigger audiences and connect with them, collaborate with them. Like you said, you could do a value exchange, you could just pay them, whatever. So, you could also run Instagram ads too, but I feel like if you really want to accelerate the growth, this is the way to do it versus Instagram ads. So I always got to ask this question, because you live on Instagram, so what works, what doesn't work. What is the biggest pet what is the biggest pet peeve that you see on Instagram right now that's just like grinding your gears? You're like, stop doing that.
I gotta say, I watched your podcast yesterday with Eric, and pretty much what you guys were talking about, how much fake people are on Instagram. How many times have you seen, click the link in my bio to learn my 6-figure online biz, and then like there's no face behind the page, no one, it's just someone hiding behind their page trying to get money from their account, and it's honestly, it ticks me off. as well as people that don't engage with their followers. They'll just throw a post up and forget about it and expect their followers to keep liking their stuff when they're not really communicating or building relationships with them.
So let's talk about engagement for a second. So from your knowledge, from your experience and expertise, what is Instagram looking at in regards to engagement?
I find Instagram versus Facebook, Instagram you can reach a lot more people, especially if you build your relationships with your followers. Now, what I've found is the amount of followers compared to your engagement, they don't really correlate sometimes. You can see a 50,000 follower page have 2,000 to 3,000 likes on each image, and you can see a 100,000 follower page with 500 likes. So just because you have a large following doesn't mean you're getting a great engagement. It's all about building those relationships and building the connection to get your strong loyal audience.
I like it. So let's talk about engagement specifically. Let's get a little tactical here, because I know a lot of people listening like the tactical stuff, the hands-on stuff that they can literally go try today. So what are some of the things that we can do on Instagram to increase that engagement? Because what I've studied and what I've learned is if you increase the engagement on your page, Instagram will see that spike and they'll notice it, and they will then say, oh, this account is interesting because all these people are engaging with it. Instagram will then start to show your posts to more people, because I want to let the audience know that just because you post something on your Instagram, that doesn't mean all 50,000 people see it. So engagement has a lot to do with that. And so what are some of the tactical things we could do to boost engagement?
I would say the biggest growth hack I've used, and it's super simple, people tend to overcomplicate it, it's asking questions in your pictures, making super relatable quotes. Like for example, there's a question I usually throw in some of the pages is, what will you do with $1 million? And of course, scrolling down, you're going to want to respond to that because you're just going to want to throw it out there. And it gets tons and tons of comments. And the trick is, once you post, the goal is to get as much comments as quick as possible, because Instagram realizes they see all these comments coming in. Okay, we're going to show this post on the Explore page. And once your post is on the Explore page, you're just getting more and more eyes. So that's ultimately the goal. But I'd say the biggest growth hacks, definitely drive comments as soon as possible with questions. Like you said before, the meme style posts, people love those. I mean, there's meme pages out there with hundreds of thousands of likes on their pictures. What else? Let me see. I mean, those are the two big ones I use. It's not very complicated. It's pretty simple. So.
Now, what about commenting back? Like somebody leaves a comment, and I see a lot of accounts, like somebody will try to engage that account or the person operating that account, and that account never replies back. Like, right. That's like, showing up to, a first date and them not coming to the door. Right? Like, kind of leaves you high and dry. And so, like, I want to just stress that it's important to engage. Engaging means to bring forth, but to connect. And so if you're bringing them forth but not connecting, you're doing your brand a huge disservice, because that's what brands are. Brands are feelings. Brands are what connect their product or service to people. And if you're not doing that, if you're just, hey, come over here, and then you ignore them, Instagram kind of, I don't pay for it. Yeah, I mean, you pay for it in reach. And that's a big problem. And so I want to emphasize the point where if you got engaged, if people are asking you questions, or they're answering your questions and you're not sort of dialoguing back with them, you're showing them that, like, you really don't care. You're just doing it for the engagement. And I don't know about you, but like the reason why I hired you for 90 days I mean, we've been doing business for years, but the past 90 days we had like a really strict growth strategy that we followed. One of the biggest reasons why I kept you on board is because, like, you always, like, didn't matter what time of night it was, like, you made sure that, like, the accounts that you were brokering out to were posting on our behalf and doing what they were supposed to do. And like, I really feel like you had like a true caring about the success of my account. And I think let's not forget about how important that is.
Right.
So
I think the thing is, I started my page in high school, so I think it was 16, 17 at the time. And when I got out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I had my Instagram page kind of blowing up, essentially. I was like, okay, well, let me see where this goes. And if it doesn't go somewhere, then maybe I'll go to get some post-secondary education, maybe take business school. And so I told myself, if this never worked out, I would go get some schooling. But I decided to give it my all, give it 110%, see where it goes, and it's going good. So I'm not looking back. So Instagram is pretty much my life. So I take it very seriously.
Well, there you go. You know, and that gives you the motivation to care about your clients, because listen, at the end of the day, you care about them, they're going to care about you. You're going to have lifelong clients. I mean, you know what I mean? You're going to have lifelong clients. And so, all right, so let's look high level and let's look at what we already covered. We talked about asking questions. We talked about getting the speed of those answers as quickly as possible. So maybe possibly running like the first 50 people who respond could get X. You know, you got to give them some sort of incentive, right? Gary Vaynerchuk does that really well with the 60-second club and all that stuff. So that's how he was getting those comments, boom, you know what I mean, in the first minute or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You said collaborating with other accounts that are larger than yours, just literally reaching out to them on DM and seeing what you could do to collaborate with them. What are some other ways that you can build brand on Instagram, in your opinion?
100% great content, and making sure that it's being heard. I mean, there's pages out there that they have super amazing content, no one's seeing it. So, or they have a great page and their content is a little off. So I feel like those two, they both have to come hand in hand.
So let's unpack that a little bit. What, in your opinion, this is the $1 million question, right? What, in your opinion, is great content?
Content that resonates with followers. They can relate to it. You know, when they see your post, like, oh my God, yeah, that's right. They're talking themselves in their head, that's right. So if I post a motivational quote like, don't let a bad day make you feel like you have a bad life. Someone that's having a bad day sees that, they're like, okay, well, you're right, it's not so bad. So chances are they're most likely going to engage with that and then drop a comment like, wow, I needed to see this. I see that comment all the time. Wow, I need to see this. This changed. This helped my day. This helped me. It was good.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think understanding relevancy and how important that plays in building your brand. You know, I had my brother-in-law who runs he's like the assistant editor of a pretty big comic company. And he was talking about storytelling and how comics, that's how a comic either makes or breaks it, is how good the storytelling is and how well that the characters in the story connect with the audience. And he said the biggest thing is if you can see, if the person reading the comic or the person reading the Instagram post can see themselves as the character or as them inside of that post, that's relevancy. That's what resonates. That's what connects. And that's what brings like lifelong connection. And so it's important for relevancy and posts that resonate with audience. The other thing that I think is important is I actually had sort of an epiphany the other day where I was like, I follow a lot of men's fashion accounts because I'm always trying to outdo my last outfit, or like when I go out, I really want to walk in with like a punch, right? So I follow all these different accounts that revolve around men's fashion. And I asked myself the other day, I said, why do I follow this account? Why? And it dawned on me that, one, they were very consistent with their content, meaning that's all they did was post outfits. And I thought that was helpful to me, because I was like, oh, I don't have my own creativity. I'm getting good at it, but I don't have my own creativity to put that shirt and that pant together, or those two colors together with those shoes. So it gives me those ideas. So when I walk into Nordstrom's, I was telling Eric this yesterday, like, I just show them the Instagram account, like, I want this outfit, show me how to get as close to it as possible. So I think before we start an Instagram account, or if we have an Instagram account that we're currently using to try to build business, would you say a good question to ask yourself is, why am I building this Instagram account in the first place?
100%.
Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
It was different for me, where I stumbled upon it by accident, but if you're going to start an Instagram page, sit down, brainstorm, what's the message you want to convey? Like, what do you want your followers to see? Make sure you're consistent, make sure your posts are consistent, and ultimately it's what value are you going to provide your followers? I mean, if you're not providing value to them, why would they follow you? I mean, definitely sit down and brainstorm and think about it before you just throw a page up. And
that's the $1 million question, is why does people want, why should anyone follow you? Number one, what makes you interesting? And I know a lot of people will say, well, I'm just not that interesting. But listen, we live in a voyeuristic world. Look at the Real Housewives brand. Right? That's all those girls do, is walk around with cameras following them, and they create scenarios that don't need to be created, in my opinion. And the women just eat it up. Like, my wife has it on all the time, and I'm laughing. I'm like, why do you watch this stuff? And she's like, it's entertaining. Which brings me to the next part of building your brand on Instagram, and it's the entertainment side of things. And so, one of my old mentors mentioned to me when he was helping me develop my content, he was like, the best content you could ever create is obviously valuable content, stuff that, like, somebody's going to walk away from and be like, wow, that really helped me today. Kind of like this podcast. selfish promotion right there. But the other thing he said was entertaining them and informing them at the same time. And he kind of coined this phrase called infotainment. Big shout out to Ben Settle. I think he coined that phrase. I'm not sure. But anyway, I gave you a shout out anyway, my man. He talked about how if you provide content, you provide value, and you're just informing them, it's like Yawnsville. It's like you could put somebody to sleep, but if you entertain them at the same time, right? That's going to get them engaged. That's going to, like, have their eyebrows perk up and be like, that just made me laugh. I want more of that, And so that balance between, like, information and entertainment, I would love to get your take on that and see, like, where would you see, like, a decent balance?
Well, it's funny, when I started the page, it was all pictures and pictures and pictures. And then once we started introducing video, it took it to another level. And what we've done with Motivated Mindset now is it's 2/3 pictures, 1/3 video. And these videos are GIFs, so it's quotes over GIFs, but the image in the back directly relates to the quote. So that's where you're getting that resonation with the followers. So once we started posting video content, it started growing tremendously. And I think more people need to figure out creative ways to get their message out there instead of just throwing it out there and forgetting about it. Especially with the meme style pages. Those started blowing up probably about 1 to 2 years ago. And I honestly didn't see it at first until these pages started growing millions of followers. And I was like, maybe I'm going to start using some of that content in my pages. Throwing some funny memes out there, some business memes, something that my audience could relate to. And it tremendously helped our pages grow.
So you're modeling. I want to shed some light onto that. You're doing your research. You're looking at other accounts, and you're saying, "Oh wow, look at that account!" Like the Fat Jewish, for example.
Yeah.
That account is hysterical, right? And I was like, I wonder if he has a big following on Twitter. I went on Twitter. He's got like 200 people following him, right? But on Instagram, he's got like 10 million. I forget. It's like some crazy amount of people following on Instagram. But he hits the nail on the head, man. He says the things that you're thinking when you're walking down the street in New York City, or you're walking down the
Don't want
street
to say it.
that you don't want to say. And that's what has driven his account to skyrocket. And so I want to really stress that point, you know, is finding that relevancy and getting creative with it. I always tell people, like, there's no problem with traffic. Like, there's never a traffic problem. There's never not enough people to see your stuff. Like, there's 7 billion people in this world. Like, you got to find the right people. That's the biggest, and that's the biggest issue. And you got to put the right messages in front of them. Like, and it all comes down to relevancy. So you're talking about connection. You're talking about feeling. You're talking about all these key brand aspects that you have to have if you want to grow your brand on Instagram. And I'm seeing the whole video thing exploding too on Instagram, and it's sort of making me shake my head now, because I'm like, this platform was developed for pictures, like literally like for photographers, right? And it's evolved tremendously into this, you know, what we see today. So video is interesting, and I would like to know, and I'm sure my audience would like to know as well. Recently, I shouldn't say recently, it's probably been out like a year now, but Instagram stories. Right? A lot of video, right? Question. How can we leverage the Instagram stories to help us, you know, build brand, you know, on Instagram?
I gotta say, first of all, Instagram stories are 100% undervalued. Totally undervalued. The amount of accounts I see that aren't using them, I just shake my head at it. It gets me going. But what we've been using with my clients' pages is the swipe up feature. And with the swipe up feature, we've been driving traffic to the websites. We've been collecting emails, which is huge one. I'm sure you've seen on some pages, there's the free motivational quotes. There's a pack we have, and we give it out, and all they have to do is put their email address in, and they get those quotes sent to them. So it's almost a no-brainer. So it's sitting down and thinking of, what can I provide to my followers that it's going to be no-brainer. They're going to swipe up, they're going to put in their email, they're going to get on your email list, and go from there.
Now,
usually it's free content. Free content works.
So you're going to give them something of value for either free or a small fee. I know I don't like to give away free stuff. I do it very sparingly, but like, that's just me. But I have like $6.99, $7.99. I think my toolkits are like $8. Like, go get this toolkit. It's $8. It'll probably help you make 80,000. Honestly, they're that good, you know. And so do that. And then one of the things that I want to highlight, and I want to get your thoughts on this, is the highlight feature that they just created.
It's brand new too, and not many people are using it. So highlight is when you post your story, you can post your stories back from, I believe it's a month, and you share your favorite stories on your page itself. So if you posted a story, let's say a week ago, and it got really good engagement, you can put it on your page, and people can still view it as well. It's very fun.
So what I've been doing is every week, so I have like 8 or 9 toolkits that I like rotate on a weekly basis into my audiences and online communities, right? And so what I typically do is I'll post it as a post, and I'll post it as a story. And I have the swipe up feature, so they can swipe up and they can go to my website, put in their email address, and then purchase it for $8 and then be on their way. Then what I do is I save that story, like you said, with the swipe up feature, sending them to that toolkit, and I post it as a highlight, and I keep it up all week.
Great.
I don't know, I probably sold 15 of them since Monday. And what I do is, and it's, I know it's only $8, but what I'm not trying to make $1 million off of them either. But what I'm trying to do is get them on my email address, because I do a daily email. So it's like therapy. It's like therapy for me. Like, every morning I sit here with my cup of coffee and I write a quick email to my list. And then at night before I go to bed, I do the same thing. and they're very infotaining. It's something silly or crazy happened throughout the day, and I just want to get it out. And once I get people on my email list, they get to know who Henry is sort of on the inside.
Yeah.
And that levels them up into my higher ticket programs and my higher ticket products, and really gets them into, eventually when they're ready and they could afford it, the more expensive stuff, my top tier stuff. And so if you're not leveraging the headline, the highlight feature, the story feature,
you're missing out.
You're totally missing out. And I don't know if this is a rumor or not, but I heard that the Instagram stories are getting more reach than like the posts. I don't know if that's true or not.
I believe it. I mean, when you post a story, it shows up directly on the top of your feed for people you follow. Whereas if you post, let's say you post an image right now, just because you post it right now doesn't mean your followers are going to see it. They can see it 5 days from now on their feed with the algorithms that Facebook brought in when they purchased Instagram. But 100% posting your story consistently. I mean, for my clients, I post on the stories every single day. There's always a story. There's never a time when there's not a story. So
I actually got to get better with that, because sometimes there's like some lag. Like, oh shit, I gotta put a story up, and it might just be me and Dante and Canella playing or something like that. But like, one of the things that I do to leverage story is I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So if I have like a high profile guest on the show, we had Evan Carmichael on the show, big million plus followers on YouTube, like big YouTuber guy. Had him on the show. We were doing like a little behind the scenes stuff on Instagram while we were doing the interview. Things like that, like people love that stuff. So get creative with the stories. Like there's so many ways you can build brand awareness and brand engagement on Instagram. It's like there's really no excuse.
There is, and it's free. Like
yes. So, all right, we got to wrap up the show. I forgot I have a call in 20 minutes, but I want to sort of just do a quick little recap. So we talked about engaging, asking questions. We talked about using stories. We talked about posting relevant and valuable content on the page. Always messaging back your followers and connecting with them that way, showing them that you really care. We talked about being authentic and not being stop trying to show your best self on Instagram all the time, because we know we're not stupid. Not everything is gravy. Not everything is awesome. And it's okay to post maybe a rant or something that to show your true colors. And I think that's what's going to help build brand in 2018. And the people that aren't afraid to be vulnerable, aren't afraid to be authentic, I think those are the people that are going to freaking just explode. And then those faker, entrepreneur wannabes, they're all going to die. So, yeah, with all that recap, and I'm kind of putting you on the spot here because we did cover a lot, but if there's three quick things that you can leave my audience with that they can start doing today on their Instagram to help them build brand, what would those three things be?
I would say one thing that I haven't talked about yet is engagement pods. So there's groups out there that they all come together, not necessarily in the same niche, but there is groups in the same niche. And whenever someone posts on their own page, that group will then comment and like on their post right away. So you're getting those comments right off the bat. So, I mean, I've used that several times. That's definitely been a good factor in growing the pages. Definitely good content, relatable content, 100%. Videos, stories. I mean, there's not much more to it. It's pretty simple stuff. People tend to overcomplicate it.
Yeah. So keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
So for those of you guys that missed maybe the beginning of the show or just chiming in, what Steven does was, I'm sure some people are like, what exactly does Steven do again? So what Steven does is help entrepreneurs like ourselves build their Instagram presence and following by literally helping you with growth strategy. So he has actually created content for me at some times when I was either on vacation. He stepped in and actually created it for me, and all I had to do was kind of post it. He does a lot of those things like for you, so he takes the guesswork out of what you should be doing on Instagram to get to the growth that you want to see. And again, it's not just getting those followers, it's about really monetizing it. And Steven's done a really good job with understanding account profiles and niches to help you do that. So Steve, for those that are looking to get help with Instagram growth strategies, where can they reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on my Instagram handle at Steven Snyder. It's abbreviated to STVNSNDR.
Awesome. So all of you guys go, and I highly recommend Steven. I mean, I've been doing this now for 3-4 years using Instagram influencers, and I've met a lot of great people, more great people than duds, I will say. And Steven is up there with the greats, and I highly recommend him to join your team and really help you take your Instagram to the next level. So, Steve, I appreciate you, man. I thank you for taking the time today to.
Thank you for having me on.
You got it. You know, sharing your wisdom about Instagram and helping you build your brand. It fit nicely with the show, and I had to have you on. So, real quick, some housekeeping things. If you haven't joined the Brand Doctors Hangout yet on Facebook, please go ahead and do that. Just type into the search query Brand Doctors Hangout, and come join us. There's about 350 of us in there that are all helping each other build each other's brand. And go check that out. If you haven't shared this podcast yet with a friend or a colleague, and please do. And I highly, I'm so appreciative and thankful for that up front. And without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So want to give a huge shout out to all my listeners, and I will catch you on the next episode. Talk soon, guys. Bye-bye.